Welcome into another episode of the Brand X Podcast, episode 111. I am one of your co-hosts, John, and alongside me, the birthday boy, Deuce.
Come stop, bitches.
So, another year older. How's it feel?
Same as it felt when I was 18.
Did you do it? Okay, so what happened? Anything happen for your birthday? Anything special?
Nah, just lasagna and food.
That's okay.
So, yeah, Diane made me my lasagna, which I should get every day, but no, I have to wait on, you know, if my son wanted lasagna every day, he'd have it.
Which goes to my point that only...
Not jackass.
The only love, unconditional love from a woman to a man is the love of a mother to a son. It's unconditional.
Or I say, there's no love like a mother's love.
That too. So.
Brevity is the soul of wit, son.
Mm-hmm. You getting ready for Christmas? You know I hate Christmas.
Yeah, you got a real issue with that. Look, before we even rush this, happy Thanksgiving. How was your Thanksgiving?
Honestly,
just totally blew right by Thanksgiving, didn't you?
I did, because for the first year, I didn't go to a Thanksgiving dinner. The ex was not cooking. The kids were all going to their boyfriends' houses. So I did a Wawa Thanksgiving. I went and got a gobbler. Wait a minute. Hang on. I got a gobbler, a thing of sweet potatoes, a thing of stuffing, a thing of mashed potatoes, and it was amazing.
That's so sad.
A little sad. I'm not gonna lie.
A convenience store for Thanksgiving. You know, you might be ready for the dirt nap. You just might want to just get in the tub, open your wrists up. If it comes to that, a convenience store Thanksgiving, that's so sad. But dude, that's like crazy. Yeah.
It wasn't.
Had I known that, we'd have had you over at my house.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Of course, I had to work Thanksgiving, but we had a house full waiting for me, which, I always think it's terrible to do to people, because Diane always insists on doing Thanksgiving, and I work 12-hour shifts. So by the time I get home, it's 7 o'clock.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So these people, I work 5:45 to 5:45. That's our set, and I have an hour drive.
Right.
So Diane has people come over. It was her brother and sister-in-law, my brother Joe, my son and his wife. And I said, well, just eat. No, we'll wait for you. No, just eat. So all these people got here like 4:30-ish. Yeah, and Diane had hors d'oeuvres and whatnot.
Yeah, but still.
And but by the time I walked in, I thought they all ate, and you got 6 starving people waiting for you.
So you got to sit down. I hope they had everything ready. I hope did they make you carve the turkey?
No, Diane took care, or my brother-in-law might have done that.
Okay.
So that was all. It was ready to go. They were just waiting for me to walk in the door.
I got to be honest with you. I had an invite to go, but I don't know.
You'd rather go to Wawa.
I just didn't want to. I don't like people, Deuce. I think I've come up to the point where I don't like people anymore. There's a few. I like a few.
You go, Ebenezer.
Yeah, pretty much. At Christmas, like I said, Christmas.
So now you hate Thanksgiving too.
No, I love Thanksgiving. It's one of my favorite holidays. Thanksgiving's the best holiday. You just you make a meal, you sit down with family.
You just said you hated people.
Well, yeah, my family. Like if it was at the ex's house, it would have been fine. You know what I mean? But then you go into the in-laws, and I don't know. It's just one of those.
It'd have been a lot of fun in 1621 at the first Thanksgiving. Like, I hate people. I'm not eating here. You spend it into stocks, your head in your hands in the wooden stocks.
I'll be honest with you. The worst part of the Thanksgiving meal is the turkey. It's a dry meat. I don't care how, you can brine it and all this other stuff. Oh, it's so moist. If you took the turkey out of Thanksgiving, you'd make it a better meal. If you put a prime rib, right. Would you rather have prime rib or turkey?
I'd rather have anything but turkey. Yeah. Turkey once a year is about enough for me.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm a sides guy. I love the mashed potatoes, the sweet potatoes, the stuffing. Definitely like the pie. Oh, that's one thing.
Joe could eat turkey every single day. He's like Ralphie's dad in A Christmas Story.
Yeah, no.
He's like a turkey junkie. But once a year is about enough for me. Although I eat turkey breast cold cuts just about every day for lunch. So go figure.
Different story. A little bit moister, not bad. But just regular turkey, just a hunk of turkey. No, thank you.
Yeah,
just saying.
Just not your thing, huh?
Just not my thing.
Yeah. You've given the old Indians a side eye at the first Thanksgiving. Yeah.
What's this bird you brought here?
Well, I think the Indians bought the turkey.
That's what I meant. Yeah, the Indians brought the turkey, and then the pilgrims are like, "Why are we eating these things? They just chase us around they chase us around, and we basically have to shoot them just so they don't attack us."
You know what they ate a shitload of? I know you don't get into history like I get into it, but they ate so much of it they actually got sick of it. Was lobster.
Yeah,
because when they came over, the lobsters would just wash up on the beach constantly, and they were like starving to death. So let's eat those ugly, disgusting crab-like creatures, And if you read like a lot of their diaries from the time, it would say we had lobster again. They were getting sick of lobster. So I guess when the first Thanksgiving, they were happy to have the turkey.
And then somebody invented butter, and they're like, you know something? This lobster's not bad if you dunk it and drown it in butter.
I don't know, man.
I know you don't like seafood.
Any seafood like that, it just tells me someone had a lot of time on their hands, and they were very, very hungry to like figure that out. Like I look across the field to see a cow, I get hungry. I wonder what that is.
What are you talking about?
I just got an alert on my. You didn't hear that?
No.
Oh, okay. I guess it's just on my end.
Now, I haven't seen anything from the chat. I don't know if anybody can hear, like, there's a show chat above here, and I was looking to see if anybody would type anything in because there's people in here.
Sounds like deception.
Deception, what do you mean?
I don't like to do live stream and all that stuff.
It's not, we're not live streaming. It's not video. It's just us.
Little treachery. I don't care how you dress it up.
And
so you hate Thanksgiving. So, and what else did you do? Anything? I mean, it's been a month since I saw you. We got a 2-minute shot clock on this episode. We're not going to run long again, are we?
We might. Why not? What do we care?
Yeah, I get concerned.
All right. So the live show chat. What the heck is going on here? So I'm in the live show chat.
You probably forgot to push something.
Of course I. Oh, open chat. There we go. Ah, okay. There we are.
Do I know my Johnny?
Yes, you did. Well, it's a new thing here. And you don't listen. You can't give me any shit about Discord because you don't even use it.
Right. Ignorance is bliss.
Say hi to the chat, Deuce.
Hello.
And something that's funny. You say, so I say I hate people, but here's people, and you don't like them.
I can't see them.
Well, of course you can't see them. You don't want to see them.
So it's like they're not here. You don't do Thanksgiving this way.
I do.
What are you sitting in the parking lot of the Wawa just
what do you
all lonely eating that gobbler?
Of course not. I had it DoorDash to my house. They come up and they drop the bag at the back door. And I came
think it's sad. Ooh. For those of you in the country that don't know what a Wawa is, it's like a 7-Eleven. So if you want to do Thanksgiving at a 7-Eleven, that's what John did.
It's not. It's more like a Sheetz or a Buc-ee's or a.
Yeah, but those are regional.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Convenience store chains.
Yeah, what's
Royal Farms
Royal
are creeping
Farms.
into our territory now.
Yeah, exactly.
That's where you should have went. At least you would have had chicken.
I'll tell you what. I'm a fan of the Gobbler. The Gobbler's Thanksgiving on a roll. It's turkey, gravy, stuffing, cranberry sauce. It's delightful. I love them. Absolutely love them. It was good. I got 2, one for the next day. Although I'll let you know, they don't hold up. The next day,
I would think not.
No, they didn't hold up too well. It was still not too bad.
Not like a real turkey.
So what I did after that was I put on my VR goggles and I went into the metaverse and I played poker for the rest of the for I don't know, a couple hours. And all the lonely people in there like me were in there playing poker, and I had a great time playing poker. Although I do think after last night or yesterday, I think I might have a play money gambling issue because they started this new game and it's called Rocket Launch. All right, so here's what it is. It's like a slot machine. So you bet an amount of money and you push start, and the rocket starts going across and starts going up. And what happens is your money's going up. All right, so you say, I bet 500,000. So it starts going up because 1 times, 1.5, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it can keep going up. What you got to do is you got to press stop before it explodes. If it explodes, you lose your money. Sometimes it'll go up to like 3, 4. Sometimes it'll go up to like 100 or 150 times. So if you put 500,000 in, I don't know, it's a couple billion in play chips. So I had a bankroll of about $86 million. And I went in there and I started playing it and I got up to $98 million. I said, I just want to get over $100 million. Next thing I know.
That's how they get you, just like the real thing.
Next thing I know, I'm down to $70 million. I'm like, fuck, why didn't I stop?
Why don't you just go to the casinos and be done with it?
No, well, see, the thing is,
that's real money. That's why.
That's real money. But here's the thing. So what did I lose? Okay, so I was 86 and I was down. So I lost 16 million in chips. To go buy, you can buy fake chips. So if you wanted to buy fake chips, it would cost you $150.
So you're going to use real money to buy fake money?
No. I started with 300,000. I started with 300,000 on the site, and I worked it up to 86 million. But I'm just saying, I should, in my heart of hearts, I should penalize myself. I should fine myself and go buy $150 worth of fake chips to bring my chip stack back up to where it was, just so I don't do that shit again, just so I don't go back in there again. Because I'm not going to lie, it's pretty fun to watch that thing. There was it got up to like 30 times, and I hit the button. And if I would have stayed, it went up to over 100. So I could have just said, okay, well, I'll go at 75. And that's where they get you.
So this is what the sad, lonely people do on holidays. This is how you're going to spend your Christmas, I guess.
Now, Christmas, I'll be with the family.
No, complaining, grumpy.
Yeah.
Because of your...
You know, it's funny.
Your adversity to Christmas. I bet you didn't have this when you were a kid.
You know when it started? You're right. It started when I think it started when I was like in my mid-20s when I started hating Christmas.
Hypocrite.
What?
Oh, you liked it when you were a kid, but now when you got to do the work yourself.
Well, so when my parents divorced when I was 18. Mm-hmm. And then after that, it was you had to go to your mom's, you had to go to your dad's.
Fun.
No, it wasn't. It really wasn't. Your dad, my dad had a girlfriend. She had kids. They were kind of my age. You were dealing with them. I wouldn't have been friends with them normally. You know what I'm saying? So you're over there. You're trying to make nice. One of them was a moron. I didn't like his girlfriend. It was just shit like that. And then my mom, she was living with a guy, and liked him. He was the nicest guy, Jim. His kids. Every one of them was a fucking idiot. Every one of them. I mean...
You still in contact with these people?
No, I have... Now, Jim died in, I don't know what time... He died before... he died right after my father did.
Yeah, I remember he died soon after.
Right. And so then the kids hated him because he left everything to my mother. They thought they were going to come in and kick my mom out of the house and take half the house and all that shit. And he wrote in his will that everything goes to my mother. And they hated her. So what they did was... Well,
that sounds like that's their fault. If they weren't such shitty kids, they would have got the stuff.
I'm telling you, they were fucking idiots. Every one of them were fucking morons.
So they're, wow, we're shitty people. Let's get mad at Dad.
Yeah, so...
There has to be a reason that he did that. You're shitty.
Right. So I'm married at the time. I go to my dad's gravesite, and Jim was buried like 2 graves over from my dad. It was my dad, my mom, and Jim. That's how they're buried today. Mm-hmm. So I go over there, and there's a bunch of notes on my dad's gravesite on the stone, taped to the stone. This guy, like they were bad mouthing my father. And here they put one of his daughters was so pissed off. She took and she'd take a bunch of paper, wrote shit on it, and put it on his grave. This piece of shit put stuff on his gravestone, her father's gravestone, and my father's gravestone.
What does your father have to do with that?
Exactly. Well, you think that went well with me? I was going to go down there and throttle the bitch. Like
I'm surprised you did it.
So, of course, thank God for my wife. So she says, you can't do this. I said, well, fuck this, and I'm pressing charges. So I went, I called the police. They came over. I said, she put her name on a goddamn thing. That's how stupid she was. She was a fucking moron. I mean, not
a master criminal.
No.
She's no Lex Luthor.
No. So now we're going to court. And she reaches out and she says, I'll never do it again. I said, we're going to court. And if I can get you fined or thrown in jail, I'm going to have you fined and thrown in jail. I said, I don't give a shit what you put on your father's gravestone. You don't put a fucking thing on my father's. How dare you? I said, you don't even know that man. So we go to court, and I'm sitting there, and I'm fucking steaming. And they're like, well, what if she says she'll never do it again? I said, really? Is this goddamn Democrats? So what would she say? She's never going to do it again. I said, so if I say, can I just go rob a bank and come back and say, you know what, I'll never do it again, and I'm fine with that? He says, well, I said, she defaced my father's grave. I said, 100 years ago, I could have killed her and wouldn't even have had any charges brought against me. I said, I'm going to tell you something right now. If you ever see my father's grave with something on it, you better take it off. I said, if anything happens to anything from my mother or any kind of thing, I said, I will be back. I said, I will be back. I will have charges brought up on you again. And that was the last time I heard from anybody in that family.
Good.
I wanted to kill her.
That's really weird. You know what? Ironic. You said when they say they promise they won't do it again. That's pretty much how it goes. When I had my business and you would catch shoplifters or your employees stealing from you, and you go and you prosecute them, and you're sitting there, and then the judge says, don't let me see you in this courtroom like this again. You know, and that was it. They got like 3 years probation. They didn't have to make restitution, and they just like, so it gets to the point that, you know, I would just fire people. That was just like with like an employee that, you know, they got caught stealing or whatever. You knew there was, after that, there was like, well, there's nothing I can do. And you would just fire them, and that's it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's all you could do, because some asshole judge will just sit there because they don't think it's important, because it didn't come out of their pocket. That's why.
Well, that's what they're doing right now. What do you have to do in this country right now to catch a charge that's actually going to send you to jail?
Well, that depends on what state you're in.
I guess that's true, too.
If you're in one of those delicious red states that have their shit together, you're going to jail. You know?
Yeah. Delicious red states.
Yeah. If you're in one of those asshole blue states like in California, as long as you don't go over $900, no charge.
So you're sitting there with a calculator. I could take this and I could take that.
Oh, well, that's all I did. Let me put on my COVID mask and my hoodie. Mm-hmm. And there's a flat screen TV that's $700. I'll just take that, and I'm not going to get prosecuted.
Sure. Why not?
It's a great deal.
I think that I said this right now. I think that the store employees should be able to carry tasers. And when this happens, they should just hit them with the taser. And then when they're on the ground, they, what's that called? Zip tie their arms behind their back and call the police. And out they go.
Adios.
Adios. There you go.
I just saw one of the, I don't know if it's one of the states or maybe the feds. They're going to authorize drone strikes against criminals.
Whoa. Where? Here in the United States?
Yeah. So it's something I read across like my news blotter, and I was like, that's interesting. It's one of the state. I think it's one of the states. I'm not sure. You know, if you want to quickly Google it or whatever.
Sure.
I just saw it like early this morning over my coffee. Like, that's pretty cool.
Hang on.
You know, why send the cops in?
Strike.
Just drone strike those assholes.
Against.
Yeah, they're like using drones and robots to like go after criminals.
Cartel uses armed drones and a plane to bomb police. That's not good.
Yeah.
I don't see anything like that here.
That's not what I saw.
Ethical legal issues of transnational drone strikes against. That's 6 days ago.
I think it had something to say like police are going to use robots. Try that.
Robot kill San Francisco. That sounds like it. San Francisco votes to allow police robots to use deadly force.
That's it.
This is
sounds
interesting.
Like the Terminator. And if they need it anywhere, they need it in San Francisco.
Oh, my God.
As long as the robots aren't slipping in shit, all that human feces all over the place.
Right. Supervisors voted to give police the ability to use potentially lethal remote-controlled robots in emergency situations. Okay. All right. They're just not going around. They're just not like driving around seeing somebody, shoplift or break a window and shooting them.
Although it would be more exciting.
It would be more exciting. Supervisors in
snap too.
Right. Supervisors in San Francisco voted Tuesday to give the police the ability to use potential lethal remote-controlled robots in emergency situations following an emotionally charged debate that reflected divisions in the politically liberal board over support of law enforcement. The vote was 8-3, with the majority agreeing to grant police the option despite strong objections from civil liberties and other police
criminals.
Yeah. And hey,
strong objections from criminals and civil liberty groups. But then again, I repeat myself.
The San Francisco Police Department says it does not have pre-armed robots and has no plan to arm robots with guns. But the department could deploy robots equipped with explosive charges to contact, incapacitate, disorient violent, armed, and dangerous suspects when lives are at stake. Okay.
Yeah, probably go into with flash bombs.
That's not a bad idea.
Flashbangs, rather.
Yeah.
Boom.
Explosive charges. All right, they're just not going to go in there and just...
Although I think drone strikes would be awesome also.
So all it uses is they...
When I rise to power, but was I thinking out loud again?
It's like, here comes the drone. What the fuck is that thing doing? That's
Jaywalkers just disappear. Just vaporized.
There's homeless parts all over the city.
That's right. Deuce is bringing the 1950s back. There will be law and order.
I mean, I could see it where you could only do this like in a barricaded situation where they have...
it would be a hostage thing or,
right.
Or they got someone, a known dangerous person in a barricaded in something.
All the police canine units are going to be out of a job now.
They still got to find drugs and bombs.
Well, that's true too.
Bomb sniffing dogs. I mean, those things got to be like so like... neurotic, like, all nervous and shit.
I want to see that TV show. Bad boys, bad boys. What you gonna do?
It's like roll them bad boys out.
Yeah, just put the camera right on the drone as it goes up.
I think they can only use those dogs for the drug sniffing dogs. I think have longer careers.
Well, I think
the bomb sniffing dogs they have a real not because they blow up. That would be awesome to see. Just because we found one. No, I think it's just because they get very, very high strung. And I guess they would be. I mean, imagine if that was like your job.
What?
Yeah, like if you're like in the military, you got to like clear minefields.
Yeah.
After a while, you start feeling, you know what? The law of averages suggests that I'm going to find a mine and not in a good way.
I got to be honest with you.
I think probably start to stress out.
I think it's the opposite. I think at first you're like really nervous, but after a while you calm down because you've had so many.
Yeah, but complacency can lead to.
I'm not saying it doesn't.
That's why a lot of like industrial accidents happen because that crane operator's done this 10,000 times, and then the next thing you know, he's on a fail video on YouTube of the crane tumbling into the Delaware River or something. Well, didn't harness that up right, did you?
So in the elevator business, workplace accidents happen to people that have been in the business most of it.
Long time.
Well, a short time first, and then after 20 years. The accident level goes up because they get complacent.
Or hence, get a case of the fuckets.
Yeah,
because I've done this so many times. Boom.
That's what happened to me. I should have known better. I should have just said, "I'm not running down the fucking steps. I'm not going to try to catch that elevator. Fuck that. I'll just hit the off switch, and just say, hey, we'll have to come back in the morning." But I figured I could catch it and see what was going on, and I took off, and my foot slipped out from under me, and down the steps I went.
Ugh.
Yeah. Wasn't good. And
concrete steps to boot, I'll bet, because it's in a building.
Got up,
rubbed some dirt on it, and went on.
Yeah, and went and fixed the elevator, limped to the truck, got up the next morning, went to work, said to the supervisor, "Hey, listen, I got hurt last night. I think I'm going to just take some Advil and put some ice on it, see what happens." Week later, I said, "This is not doing any good. This isn't really good. Can I go go to the doctors? What do I got to do?" He says, "Hey, give it another week." He kept putting it off. And me being a dumbass, I should have went and got a lawyer. If I would have got a lawyer, I would have been in Easy Street right now. But I didn't. I'm a dumbass. I just did what I was supposed to do. And then 6 months later, they said, "Oh, okay, we can get you." I was going into the operating room, and my boss called and stopped it. He said he had to talk to the lawyers first.
What?
Oh, yeah. I should have got a lawyer right then. I could have sued. I can't imagine. God damn, I'm stupid. Let's see. I hurt myself in December. And by the time...
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
You hate Christmas.
Hurt myself in December. And
work-related injuries will do that to you.
I got operated on May. So I worked all that time with torn meniscus and torn ligaments in my knee.
Yeah, I had my meniscus done. It was I got lucky after it was done. I just had a slight tear, but before I had the operation, it hurt like a bitch.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. And I didn't do the kind of work you did. Is not physical like that. Yeah.
But anyhow,
when I had mine done, I would just stood on my feet all day saying, you want matches with that?
Yeah, still, the railroad strike that's going on right now. Are you up on this? Have you been paying attention to this?
Just cursory. I mean, I know it's going to end badly for the taxpayer. It always does.
Okay, so why do you say that? That angle I didn't look at.
Well, because from what I understand, they're going to get a 24% salary increase over the next 5 years.
But what does that have to do as far as the taxpayers? Because
who owns Amtrak?
Again, maybe I'm missing something.
Amtrak is owned by the federal government.
Okay. But is Amtrak? So maybe I don't know enough to know enough. I thought this
is one of the reasons why I say that the government should never be involved in anything, because it distorts the market. Mm-hmm. Everything that the government runs is in trouble. Amtrak, the United States Postal Service,
correct,
Medicare, Social Security, anything that they have here you go, case in point. AT&T had a monopoly. It was a private company. They made money hand over fist. The United States Post Office, or Amtrak, is owned by the government. They're accountable to no one, and if they get in trouble, they just raise taxes. And like I said, where AT&T made money hand over fist because they were a private industry company, the government, they fuck everything up. So how can you, in what dimension can you be in where you have an absolute monopoly like Amtrak and you're always in financial trouble?
Well, nobody uses
something that the government runs. That's
okay. So correct me if I'm wrong.
You're wrong.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Amtrak is a passenger service. All right. I'm talking about freight.
Well, it's anything that runs over the rail, so they do freight and passengers.
I'm not sure about this. I got to look this up.
I think they don't carry heavy duty freight like, was it Connex or
yeah, I think there's companies.
Conrail. It used to be Conrail, and then now it's called something else.
Right. I think they're private companies because
they are.
Okay. So that's who this is with. Not I don't think it's Amtrak. Boy, I wish I would have read up more on this. Now you've thrown a whole wrench in the whole story now.
Well, let's find out.
All right, let's find out.
8 of 12 transportation unions involved in negotiations. The 4 dissenting unions represented about 100,000 rail workers. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I heard it was Amtrak, but...
No, I think it's companies that are not Amtrak that are unionized.
Okay.
So the reason I thought about this was because you and I have both worked in union shops and also in management. So it's two completely different takes.
Well, I was actually more than a manager. I was an owner, and that's where you really see where your money's going. You know, managers might have an interest, but owners have a real interest.
I understand that, but okay. Okay, you win.
But be that as it may, I mean, they're going to get a 24% increase in salary, so they're not necessarily going to be the United States taxpayers, but it's going to be the customers. The customers being whoever's using the rail companies to freight anything, and corporations don't pay taxes. It's passed on to the consumer. So the ultimate buyer of the goods, whether it's a car or steel or coal or whatever they're freight, they're going to pay that's where that's going to come from. So 24% in 5 years is a lot of hay.
I get that, but this is why I think that I think the companies have a PR problem. And this is why I say that. In the elevator business, the union had no sick days. You worked, you got paid. You didn't work, you did not get paid. This is what they did. They took 8% of your salary. You know, let's say you made $1,000 a week. Mm-hmm. So they would take, what's 8% of $1,000?
$80.
$80. So they would take $80 a week and they would put it in an account. And 2 times a year you would get that. You would get that January 15th and June 15th, which worked out to be about 4 weeks paid. So you got 4 extra weeks paid. They were your sick days. So if you got sick or something, they were your sick days. So you had 20 sick days or 20 vacation and sick days, how you ever wanted to take them. It didn't matter. Mm-hmm. But you did not get paid when you were sick. This is what they're doing right now with the rail union. They raised their rate up 24%. So they're not getting 7 sick days. They're getting basically a quarter of their salary as a raise. So you don't get paid when you get sick. And I don't think that's been communicated. So now Biden goes in and he negotiates and he gives them, okay, we'll give you 1 sick day. And the union's like, no, we want 7. So there's a lot of shit going on because they had to get rid of a lot of these employees when they wouldn't take the vaccine. They have a shortage of employees. That's why they're so pissed off. That's why they won't let anybody take any time off for sickness, because they need everybody. And the company says if they give people 7 sick days, they have to hire more people to cover those sick days.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what will happen.
But they're making pretty good bank now.
What I got here, what I see here says the newly enacted law codifies the July deal negotiated by rail unions and the Biden administration that would raise workers' pay by 24% over a 5-year period, including an immediate payout on average of $11,000 upon ratification. So they're getting $11,000 front-loaded.
Yep.
Just for ratifying it, and then they get the balance. That $11,000 is including the 24%. That's included in the 24%, if I'm reading this right.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounds like that's on top of the 24% increase.
Yeah, so they're getting
so they're getting 24% over a 5-year period.
Yeah,
and they're getting $11,000 bonus money, basically. Like, here, thanks for signing. Here's your $11,000.
Correct. All right, so they get that, and now they're still whining if they don't get any time off. Now, here's the thing. They can't take time off because they don't have enough employees. So that's the problem. Let's say you're sick. I don't know. Let's say you have the flu, or let's say you hurt your knee or something, and you can't walk that day or something. You got to go to the doctors, whatever it is. And you say, listen, I need the time off. They're like, oh, you can't take time off. Well, I can't walk. What the fuck am I going to do? Or I got the flu. Or whatever, I got a migraine headache. I can't take a day off.
Well, even if they don't get the time off, there's disability, short-term disability or long-term disability, depending if the injury is severe enough in that instance.
Let's just say you get COVID now. Let's say you get COVID.
Is that still a thing?
It's still a thing. People are still getting COVID. The problem is nobody's talking about it anymore. It's still killing the olds and the fats.
I'm good.
I hear you. You're just old. You're not fat. But the thing is, they can't take any time off. And the problem is because they've cut back the workforce where they're so lean that they don't have anybody to take over that spot. And the people, the management, the owners, the investors, they don't want to add more people because it cuts into their profits.
Well, I'm wondering if they're having the same issue other industries are happening where people just don't want to work. Around here, like when you were choking down your gobbler on Thanksgiving in the parking lot, did they have a help wanted sign in that Wawa? I'll bet they did.
Probably.
Because a lot of these stores around, they can't get anybody to work anymore because the Zoomers, they're way lazier than the millennials ever were. They make the millennials look like hard chargers. There's a bank down the street from me. They've closed the drive-through.
What?
Because they can't get anybody to they got all orange cones on both sides of the drive-through. It's a Wells Fargo bank. No, they can't get anyone to work. So now you go into the Wells Fargo, which is what I do anyway. I don't like drive-throughs because to me it's just a waste of gasoline. And I get stressed out watching incompetence. But anyway, there's only like two tellers working the whole bank. The drive-through is completely shut down. The Chick-fil-A around the corner from me.
Yes.
I went there the other day. The lobby was closed. You could not eat in the restaurant. You had to go into the drive because at that particular Chick-fil-A, they're short-staffed. They don't have anybody because no one wants to work now. They want to get hired and not work. Here's a good, and this is anecdotal. Where I work, we just hired a new class of workers. Where I work, you get top pay within 3 years. So obviously, every 6 months you get a raise. So in the line of work that I do. So you start at like, say, $16. But in 6 months, you're going to get a raise to $19. And 6 months after that, you're going to get a raise like to $23. So it's going to go up. So there was this woman, she got a job. She worked almost 60 hours and she was upset that she got an $800 paycheck. because in her convoluted mind, she's doing the same job that I'm doing, but I'm at top rate.
Jesus Christ.
So, right. So she should have got paid $37 an hour like I do.
Okay.
And that's what you're up against, is because you got a lot of the workers now are just retarded. I don't know what's going on. They want to join the Navy and go in as an admiral.
I'm telling you right now, the only way to fix this is to do what the Israelis do. As soon as you get out of high school, you have to go into the services for 2 years. You have to go into the Air Force. You have to go into the Navy. You have to go into the Army, Marines, Space Force, whatever the fuck they are.
Soviet Union was 6 years. Everybody, 6 years.
John's second cousin in Discord said being willing to work really is a valuable asset nowadays. That is the truth.
Yeah.
If you're willing to work, the amount of jobs that you could get, it's amazing. So the job that you said that, nobody wants to pay their dues anymore. That's the problem. When you start as an elevator, in the elevator business, you start as a permit helper or what they call a mop. You're a mop. You do whatever they say. You mop the floors, you sweep the floors. You better keep moving. Don't stop moving. Like if there's nothing to do, pick up a broom, clean something, wipe off tools, clean something
busy.
up.
Right.
You're busy 8 hours a day. They need coffee, you go get coffee. They need something from the truck, you go. They don't move. They sit there and they work, and then you're the busy bee. You clean the trash. Any dirty job that there is in the elevator business, you do first 6 months. You start out half of what a card carrying apprentice makes. After 6 months, and they can fire you. They can wash you out at any time. They don't even need a reason. Mm-hmm. After 6 months, you get your card. You get your apprentice card. And then you have to go to school 1 night a week, and you're still a mop. And if there's no permits on the job, you're the mop. You're still the mop. So you do the same thing. And you go to school 1 night a week, and you learn your trade. And it takes you 5 years to go through it. And then you can sit for your mechanics test. Your pay goes from 50% of mechanics rate to 70% of mechanics rate when you get your card. Then when you take your test, you get the full mechanics rate. All right. So that's how that works in the elevator business. Mm-hmm. What I'm trying to say is that all this whining and crying is not because of the pay. The pay they don't care about. What they care about is being able to take off from work 7 days out of a year. 7. And not worried about getting fired. I don't think that's too much to ask. But so what they do is they kick it back to Congress. And Congress, in their highfalutin ways, instead of saying, guys, it's 7 fucking days. All right, suck it up and give them 7 paid holidays. All right, or say, listen, you get 7 days to take off, and you will not be. It will not be against your permanent record or whatever you want to say. So that's all you have to do. Say, listen, we're going to give you a certain amount of money. Same thing. 8% of your pay goes into this account. You get it twice a year. There's your sick days. All right, you can take and you can take those time off. The problem is they're trying to run so lean that they can't afford to have one person take a day off, or it shuts fucking things down, or things get dangerous.
See, now you're hitting where I work. You're touching on something because you can only have X amount of employees doing something, whatever it is. Take what I do. You can only have a finite amount of people. All right, we do get sick days. Actually, we get occurrences, which is the greatest scam going, because an occurrence is for 5 days. And you can take up to 9 occurrences. That's 45 days out. All right. Now, after 3 occurrences, you get a certificate of absence. Sounds like an achievement, doesn't it? No, that means here's your certificate of absence. So now let's say I take 3 occurrences and I take them for all 5 days. That's 15 days I'm already out with full pay.
Okay.
Now they got to hire somebody on the other shift to take my place. And when enough people do this stuff, now the overtime goes up and it becomes a self-perpetuating machine. So now the people that are getting forced in to cover my lazy ass, not that I call out because I don't, unless I'm about on the brink of death. So in the last year, I haven't called out. And prior to me almost dying last year, I didn't call out for 2 years. I don't call out. I don't get sick. I'm lucky. But there's a lot of pieces of shit that do call out a lot. And now what's the company supposed to do? Oh, well, we got to hire more people. How does that make any economic sense? It doesn't. Mm-mm. That's what you're probably looking at in that sense because people abuse it.
I think what they're doing right now, especially with they just don't have people. They can't even give them overtime. I mean, there's just not enough people.
Well, actually, it's all, the work shortage that we're going into, like we touched on with all the businesses. I mean, I've never seen it where like nobody wants to work.
I know, it's crazy.
Like getting back to what I do, you start at about a little shy of $16 an hour. So everything was, oh yeah, well, you can go to the Target warehouse that they built in, I don't know, Swedesboro somewhere or whatever. They built a Target warehouse. Oh, they start at $22 an hour. All right, that's great. It's not a 40-hour week, by the way. It's probably like 34, 35.
Yeah, so they don't have to pay your benefits.
Yeah, 40 hours is now the old-fashioned full-time job. Now it's 35 hours. But be that as it may, all right, you can start there at 22, but in 3 years, you'll be making $22.75. And if you stay with the job that I do, within 3 years, at today's rate, I'm getting 37, but I'm going to get a raise every year for the next 3 years, according to the CBA.
Right.
So, people are so small-minded. They're not looking at the big picture. Is it tough to, make it go, especially in this state that's so expensive at $16 an hour? Sure it is, but I did it.
Well, the other thing is parents today pay for their children
in perpetuity.
Yeah, and things that we would have never. Okay, could you imagine going to your father and saying, Dad, I want a cell phone, and it's all the other kids have it, and it's going to cost you $75 a month for me to have a phone.
Right.
What do you think? How would that have went?
Yeah, like a fart in a spacesuit. That's how that would have went. It just wasn't going to happen. What? Get the hell. I don't know if I told this story on this podcast or not, because I tell it a lot. Because it just goes to show you how stupid you could be as a kid, because you don't know. Not that you're stupid, you're naive, and I was naive. So there was a bicycle that I wanted really, really bad when I was 10 years old, and this bike. Let's say it cost $100, okay, which is probably pretty close to what it cost back then. It was a Schwinn Scrambler. It was like maybe $120. I wanted this bike in the worst way. So I said, you know what? I'll get Dad to buy me the bike, and I'll work it off in the pizzeria. All right? Sounds like a good plan, right? But I thought I was doing the right thing. I'm going to put a business model together on how this is going to work. And I said, hey, Dad, this is the bike I want. It costs $100. So I'll work in a pizzeria and you just pay me $8 an hour. Now, I'm a 10-year-old kid.
And minimum wage back then was
in the mid-70s,
like $3 an hour.
The minimum wage was probably $2.65 an hour. And I had the audacity to be pissed off at my father when he blew up and had his $8 an hour. Are you out of your goddamn mind? It's $8 an hour. And I thought he was being unreasonable. Because I didn't want to work in there. I just figured, shit, man, if I just put in 10 hours, that's $80. I'm good. 2 weekends, I'm out of there.
Oh, my God.
But that's how, naive, and of course I said that I was a 10-year-old kid. This girl that just quit. Girl, I can't, she wasn't even a girl. She's a woman. She was 30. This woman.
Where's she going to make that kind of money anywhere else?
She's made, I only made $800. I worked almost 70 hours. Yeah, welcome to Reelsville. That's how it fucking works. Asshole.
My daughter said to me the other day, do you know how much money they take out of my pay in taxes?
Half.
I said, yeah, I do. Where do you think I've been for the past 60 years?
Yeah. Welcome to my life.
Yeah. Welcome to adulthood.
That's like that lottery show that we talked about before, My Lottery Dream Home or whatever, with the very flamboyant host. And you say, oh, so-and-so won $2 million. And then they go and they say, well, what price are you trying to keep your house in? And they'll say like $350,000. And people say, well, they won $2 million. No, they didn't. Because after Uncle Sam got a hold of that $2 million, they probably turned it into about $120,000. And then the state that they lived in are very interested in what you have out of that $120,000. So they took a bite. So if you're lucky, you probably cleared maybe $100,000. You can't go out and buy a $1 million house because how are you going to afford to pay the taxes on it? I can only guess what the taxes on $1 million home are. I can know what the taxes are on this house is.
Right. It's crazy.
I mean, so you got to keep working. You got to pay those taxes. You got to pay electricity and gas and water, and you probably want to have a nice lawn. And
so Duchess in the chat says, ask your daughter who she voted for. Well, this one is like her father. She did not vote Democrat. The rest of them, Democrats. I was a bad father. Although their mother's a big Democrat.
Well, I was going to say that who did they hang around more?
Their mother. And to be honest with you, Jessica, my youngest, she's just like a splitting image of me with female parts.
She didn't go to Wawa for Thanksgiving, did she?
No, she went to her boyfriend's house.
Good for you, Jessica. Well, that's what I said the last podcast. The cure for radicalism is the 3 M's. It's, marriage, a mortgage, and maternity. That those 3 things will keep you from being a maniac.
See, the thing is right now, there's no way kids can go out and buy a house. I mean, you basically need 2 incomes just to rent a place right now. And God forbid you have a child and then one can't stay home. Like one parent can't stay home. They both got to work. Now they got to pay for childcare. So if you're not getting free childcare from like your retired parents, you just can't make it. And that's part of the problem here.
That's an argument as old time itself, because I remember my grandparents making that, when they got their first house, their mortgage came to, I think it was $11 a week. That's what they had to put toward the mortgage. Oh, yeah, sure.
$11.
And it was a bitch to pay it. Yeah, 1932 in the middle of the Depression and no work, So, yeah, they had like a $44 a month mortgage. The house probably cost $8,000 or something. I don't even know. That house is still there. It's in a horrible neighborhood now. It's like a demilitarized zone. In fact, the mortgage today might be $44 a month because the neighborhood's so fucking bad.
So I remember, I remember my parents talking about the first house that they bought. All right, my mother didn't work. My father made, and this was amazing. He made $115 a week before taxes. And the house that they bought was $2,400. And he had a mortgage on it. Oh, no. He had no mortgage on it because my grandfather
you mean $24,000?
$2,400. In 1963, he was making $115 gross, not take home, and the house was $2,400. That's what it cost. So you could.
Oh, they living in a shack?
It was a 2-bedroom house, and my dad put an addition on it to make it a 3rd bedroom. It was just a small, I guess they would call it a salt box kind of house, not a Cape Cod, but kind of a salt box kind of house. All right, so then I was 7. So it was 1968. In 1968, he bought this big, giant 3-story old house, and it cost him $12,000. And it was, it was in bad shape. And we had to go in there and just fix everything. We had to repair everything. He's frozen. Man, I hope his computer's not. Jesus Christ. All right. There we go.
And we're back.
And we're back. All right. Fuck those people on the railroads. Just to wrap it up, I think government should stay out of this. If it's going to be that big of a deal and they need more people, if they shut it down for a week or so, then they'll realize that, they got a tiger by the tail and they got to do something. It can't all be about one person.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about that. I think they should stay out of it. I think all they did was fuck them. They gave them 1 day off. They had 2 different versions to vote on the Senate. And what they did was they voted on the version that gave them 1 day off, not 7. And that would be on top of their 24% increase and all. You got 24%.
And the $11,000 cash bonus for signing.
Right. Suck it up.
That's a used Corvette.
I guess it is, come to think of
it. Get yourself a nice C4.
Yes. All righty. All right, listen, before I want to get into this one last thing. So I was looking the other day and I saw this trailer open up for one of my favorite shows used to be That 70s Show. And I used to love Red Foreman because Red Foreman was kind of like my father. Red Foreman was kind of like Genghis, your father. Mm-hmm. So now they got
kind of like me.
Kind of like me now.
Yeah. Well, Wise used to always say to Diane that he used to watch That 70s Show and he said that Diane is Kitty and I'm Red. And if you know my wife,
It's so true.
it's pretty much spot on.
I never thought of that. As soon as you said that, I was like, oh my God, it's true. Diane is Kitty. They're bringing back that 90s show. And that 90s show is just Red and Kitty and I guess a grandchild. So I don't know which grandchild it is.
I think it's...
Is it the daughters? Because...
No, it's...
I can't even think of his...
Topher Grace was the actor.
Yeah, the actor. I can't think of his...
Yeah.
Can't think of his name.
Kid. Yeah. It's his and... what was it? Laura... Prapon was
that was the other actor.
I know the actors and actresses.
Can't think of the character's
I don't know
name.
the character's name.
Is that crazy? So what I was thinking is if they're going to bring that back, what if they brought other sitcoms back? Like you got the 80s and the 90s.
So are you talking reboots or bring back the old actors and actresses that were in those?
Let's talk about that. Let's see.
Because my favorite TV show is Cheers, but Shelley Long is 73 now, so she's pretty Shelley Long in the tooth. So.
Shelley Long. All right. So let's do Cheers. All right. So if Cheers comes back, how would that go? This is how I think it goes. All right. I think what happened is Woody buys the bar off of Sam. He keeps Sam there just as like an old guy who's just like a bartender and tells old baseball stories. The new guy that everybody comes in to see is not Norm anymore because Norm, he sits in the Norm seat, drinks non-alcoholic beer because he's got to leave every day to get kidney dialysis because of the diabetes. And Shelley Long in the tooth isn't there anymore.
Kirstie Alley replaced her. Rebecca replaced her.
Right. So Kirstie Alley's still there.
When we left her, she married Tom Berenger.
Right. So I would think that she comes back, and since it's the 90s now, or since it's now, everybody's got to be woke. I think that she's a flaming lesbian.
Wow, you're really taking a real woke approach on
because
this.
Every show's got to be woke now, right? Matter of fact, they probably
that's why when they reboot them, usually that way. That's what happens when they go the way of a reboot.
Right.
Totally like Hawaii Five-0 when they redid that.
Exactly.
Which I haven't watched, but.
The other thing is that they got a new bartender that would be Woody, but what he is he's a black guy. But he's really, really smart. He's not dumb like Woody was. Like he's really, really smart.
Like the coach, he was. I liked the coach better. Actually,
I did like the coach better too. But I think didn't the coach die?
Yeah, that's why they replaced it with Woody. It's kind of hard to like. Only Joe Biden can go through life dead. You know, anybody else just really can't.
So here's the other thing:
turn off my phone. Turn off.
The Golden Girls. So
the Golden Shower Girls.
The Golden Girls are my age now. In other words, when that show came out, they were in their 60s. They're my age now. And I'm looking at them, and I'd bang every one of them.
You know, I've never, as long as that show's been on and in syndication, I've never seen an episode.
Really?
Never seen one.
See, that for me, that's like, I'm trying to think which one that I would say the same thing to. I've never seen an episode of Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yeah, anything with Danny DeVito in it.
Right.
Yeah.
I never saw an episode of Punky Brewster.
With Danny DeVito, it's like God said, I'm going to make a midget. And then like halfway through, he just lost interest, you know. So, you know, like, fuck it, that's good enough. So he's not quite a midget, but he's, you know, he's not really tall.
What are some of your other favorite sitcoms that we could?
Well, Seinfeld, of course.
Seinfeld comes back.
I used to watch MASH like crazy back in the day.
Let's think about MASH. MASH comes back, but instead of the 4077, they're all they're in a nursing home together. And instead of being the doctors, they're now the patients.
Well, they would have to, but they would have to set that in like the 1970s because that was set in Korea in the 50s.
Oh, we could do that.
You know,
yeah, we could do it. The doctor comes walking in, with a cigarette hanging out of his mouth. Yeah, because they just come walking in, smoking a cigarette when they were talking to you.
Klinger's, he was woke before there was wokeism. He was wearing women's dresses back then.
Right, he's in the mental. He's in the
trying
mental
to get
ward.
out. Radar had a club hand.
What?
Oh, Gary Berghoff, the actor that played Radar.
I did not know that.
Yeah, he has his left hand. It's like deformed. It's like a club hand. And that's why if you ever watch MASH, he's always carrying a clipboard in his left hand tucked under his arm and his torso.
I never knew that. Look at you with the, how about that?
Yeah, useless knowledge, but someone has to possess it.
Seinfeld.
Denzel Washington has a fucked up finger.
Just a finger?
Yeah, I think it's his pinky. It's like it's kind of, he's got a fucked up finger.
He chopped that off. It's not a big, that's never hurt him in anything.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying there's like, Sarah Jessica Parker has that gigantic mole on her chin. Although I think she got it removed.
Yeah, so she's got dead eyes.
Yeah. Once you see that mole, you can't unsee it.
Right.
Like that eye wart next to Christian Bale's eyeball, next to his eye.
Yeah.
Did you ever see that eye wart?
Yeah. Not a big.
Yeah, once you see it, it's like, he's not my Batman. Michael Keaton held up. So he's still everyone's favorite Batman.
Duchess says Sarah Jessica Parker has a horse face. No shit. Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Sarah Jessica Parker walks into a bar. Bartender says, "Why the long face?"
I'm trying to think about Seinfeld. So Seinfeld, all right, you go back to Seinfeld. Jerry's still a comedian. Mm-hmm. All right. George is homeless. No. Would George be homeless or would Kramer be homeless?
Kramer was a hustler. He'd find a way to get by.
Yeah, he would find a way. George would be homeless.
He was Jerry's neighbor for all those years. He never, ever had a job for the most part. Once in a while, he got the bagel shop job back, and but he was always doing like a scam and a side hustle. He never really had a legitimate job.
Here it is. George is not homeless. George has to live with Kramer because he would have been homeless, but Kramer,
then it becomes the odd couple,
right? So it's.
I just saw the original Odd Couple on the movie. That was with Walter Matthau and Jack Lemmon. That was hysterical.
Yeah, it's really funny.
When you watch, it was like pretty, it still holds up. 1964 or whatever it was made.
Yeah.
It's probably older than I am. I'm not even sure.
And then if you go to see, because a lot of times as I was kind of doing some research for this, I was like, wow, I forgot about these. I completely forgot about these. Like, are there some sitcoms like Grace Under Fire? Remember that show?
Never saw it.
Really?
There's a lot of shit, like you were mentioned. There were like really, really big hit shows that everyone would talk about, and I never saw. Like St. Elsewhere, never saw it.
I never saw an episode.
L.A. Law, never saw it. Hill Street Blues, never saw it.
I liked L Street.
90210, never saw it.
Really? What about Drew Carey show?
I saw a couple of episodes, but I don't know why I saw it. Just like
wasn't something that you would watch.
Well, no, it's just dumb luck. I guess I was home surfing. I'm like, I watched the one episode. I remember stopping because Joe Walsh was in it. Like, hey, there's Joe Walsh. So there was like, guitarist of the, famous guitarist of the James Gang and later on the Eagles and prodigious solo work.
I say right now, so we reboot Home Improvement, the one with Tim Allen. Mm-hmm. Tim Allen died in a electrical accident filming the show.
Did you see the last episode of Last Man Standing?
I did not.
Okay. On the last episode, or one of the last episodes, I don't know the character's name in that show, but Tim Allen meets himself as Tim the Tool Man. So they did a split screen thing and everything, and it was actually pretty cool.
I'll have to go back and watch that because
I'm sure it's on YouTube somewhere. That scene's probably in YouTube. So and I didn't see the show. I just caught it myself on YouTube. Like, that's pretty clever,
Yeah. So let's say they reboot Home Improvement. So Tim dies in an electrical accident. So his oldest son takes over for him. Al's still the sidekick. The one son, the youngest one that never really talked or had anything, he has transitioned into a woman.
There was some kid on one of those shows. I think he
did
transition into something. I'm trying to think. You know what show I think it was? I think it was Who's the Boss.
Oh,
I think. The little boy, Alyssa Milano's brother on the TV show. I think he went for the play for the home team.
So Alyssa Milano,
she's dumb as a rock.
So she tweets out.
That's like something you see in The Onion or Babylon Bee.
She tweets out, "I sold my Tesla because
gave it back."
She gave it
I
back.
gave it back. Like, gave it back.
Right.
You sold it. Yeah.
I traded it in.
Yeah, who's handing cars out that I can just give it back? That's what I want to know.
I bought a Volkswagen electric car because of the Nazi Elon Musk. And then someone said, you realize that Volkswagen was
literally founded by Adolf Hitler.
and real Nazis. I mean, what a dumb bitch. Oh, my God.
Yeah, she's knocking him out of the brain department.
Oh, Duchess says Kramer would be doing DoorDash, like those kind of jobs.
Yeah, exactly. Uber, DoorDash.
But he wouldn't do Uber like you normally would. He would be doing Uber like on a bike or something like that. In other words,
who was your favorite Seinfeld character? Everyone goes crazy for Kramer, but I liked George the best.
I did. You know what? I got to tell you, he's not the normal character, but the one I loved the best was George's father. He was fucking amazing. Yeah. He was like on Star Trek, The Next Generation. Like my favorite character in there was Q. Q was amazing.
Oh, John Delancey.
Yeah.
He's from Philadelphia.
I did not know that.
Yeah, well, you know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Useless information.
Yeah. If you need it, I got it. Always willing to dole it out. Hey, this is like a non sequitur, but we're talking about TV. And like Diane does, when she puts TV on, she's always like cooking or whatever in the kitchen. So the TV's just on.
Right.
So as a consequence of that, the commercials get played. When I'm running the show, commercial, I'm out of there. I'm like bebopping around. I'm looking for something I'm going to watch. Even if it's for 35 seconds, I'm like, I can't like watch commercials. So I was putting 2 ceiling fans up in the house over the weekend, and I'm running up and down the stairs to turn on the circuit breaker. And I hear this commercial, like as I'm at the refrigerator, and the word crotch odor comes. That's what I said. And I was like, is this like a sign that we're close to the apocalypse, or are today's people on today's TV audience too stupid to understand euphemisms? So I don't know what they're selling, what the product is, but it's some woman and she's talking about it'll help eliminate crotch odor.
Vaginosis?
Of course, it's got to be a woman selling to other women because they got that bait box going on down there. So I have to figure that's what it would have to be. But I was like, really? They went right for the jugular with like crotch odor. It was just like that, because back in the day they would have said helps with freshness or something like that. They would always speak in euphemisms. Not this woman. She went right for the throat, but when it just rolled out with crotch odor. Like then I'm at the refrigerator pulling the milk out. I'm like, what? Crotch odor.
Hey, listen, not to just listen. And again, I understand that,
some people need guidance, I guess.
But listen, to be totally honest, balls don't smell like fresh pine, especially after a hard day's work.
But do you think the people, like, it's like the Febreze commercial, they just go nose blind and they don't know they have crotch odor? Like, you would think that, like, like if you have say, don't you have any mirrors in your house? Like, you see people the way they leave their house. Like,
you know what? I don't know. I would think that, something you smell all the time, you get used to it. You ever walk into somebody's house and, you just walk in their house. It's got a smell to it. And you're like, what's that smell? And they're like, what smell? And you're like, nothing. It could be anything. It could smell like musty or a little moldy or something. They're not used to. They're in it 24/7, so they're kind of blind to it.
Smell like a wet dog.
Yeah, something like that.
Smell like a wet dog.
Smells like stinky gash.
Yeah, like crotch odor. Jesus. Yeah, and how do you approach that subject? Peg. I don't know if you know, but you got the bait box going. So it's like. How do you not know?
What you do is...
I was just stunned that they used direct language like that.
Well, I would think that you would use the correct, medical terms, like vaginosis. Isn't that what it's called? I think it's probably, for some reason that popped into my mind.
I don't know. Now
vaginosis.
That's useless knowledge that I don't have.
Hang on. Let's go to the Google box. Vag. How would you even spell that?
VAG.
Anosis. There it is. Vaginosis.
Yeah, look at you. So clearly this is something up in your field of interest that you could just call that right out. Another thing that I've noticed.
Hang on, don't you want to know about vaginosis?
Pretty much know all I need to know there. I know there's a product on TV that helps fight it. They just call it crotch odor.
Yeah, researchers do not know what causes vaginosis. However, we do know that a condition most often occurs in those who are sexually active is a result of an imbalance of good and harmful bacteria in the vagina. Douching, not using condoms, and having new or multiple sex partners can upset the normal balance of vaginal bacteria, increasing your risk for...
Yeah, so basically you got a quim full of cum is what you've got going in there. That's what's causing that. So,
Oh, my God.
Another thing I've noticed, I notice as I go through life. I know you're not on Facebook all that, or maybe you're a lurker like I am.
I'm kind of a lurker.
Okay. There's people I've noticed, lots of people in all walks of life that are on my friends list that you never hear from them until they're madly in love with someone. Have you noticed this phenomenon?
Yes.
Okay. It's like you would swear that they were dead and buried, and then they got like a new boyfriend or a new girlfriend, and the next thing you know, it's just their feed is just littered with photos of them. Like photos doing the most mundane thing. Well, that's the bulk of Facebook anyway. But just like, here we are eating a hot dog together at the ball game. Here we are walking in the woods. And then they break up with these people and they die again. You never see them again.
Yeah.
It's just like, so I just noticed that, like, that's going on again.
So here's the thing. So some of that's a good thing. So in other words, there's someone that I know that just started dating a new woman, and they're at bars and they're at concerts and they're here and they're there. And I'm like, that's fantastic. Although they used to listen to the show and be in the chat and were funny in the chat. I miss that, but I'm glad for them. Mm-hmm. On the other hand, I know someone that has recently broke up with their significant other. And what a fucking shit show that is. And then you got to kind of calm them down. You got to say,
in what way? They're upset?
Yeah, they're on there and they're on Facebook and they're asking questions, and there's song lyrics.
So they're not going off in that good night quietly. Then.
No, they are not. And then and it's just
I've never seen that.
Oh my God,
that I've never seen that.
Yeah,
usually that shit you get in person.
Yeah, you just want to go to.
Hey, there's so and so at the other end of the bar. Hey, so and so, how are you? Well, and then you're sorry that you asked. Cindy left me. Oh, sorry.
My whore wife has a boyfriend.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. So there it is.
You know what she did? No, I really don't care.
Yeah.
I was just saying hi to be polite. That's not.
Yeah.
I'm not in here for the psychoanalysis.
Well, to me, I'm like, all right, well, she's got a boyfriend. That's good. Now you can go out and get a girlfriend. You know what I always say? The best way to get over old pussy, new pussy. So that's if they're like,
it's vaginosis.
Right.
Yeah. You don't want that crotch.
Not brand new. Not brand new. New to you. Be careful there.
They should just call it crotch rot and be done with it.
Okay.
Sounds better than vaginosis. Yeah, you got crotch rot. What do I do? You get this product. I got to find out what the name of this product is. I was like so stunned.
Watch out for the old new car. Yeah, it's true. Sometimes the old new car is worse than the old car. The new old car.
The devil you don't know is worse than the devil you do.
Exactly. It's like... No, I think my biggest thing that I've noticed now is how we can't talk without censoring ourselves in the minute. Like you watch daytime TV or any talk show or any kind of topical show, they are immediately self-censoring themselves so much, they can't get out a fucking sentence. And it's ridiculous. There's certain people like Kanye West. I mean, this guy's just imploding. Have you seen the latest thing with him on, have you heard what happened to him over on Alex Jones? Or what's going on with him over the past week?
No, I didn't even know he was on Alex Jones. I know he had dinner with Trump, and they're trying to say that Trump's a Nazi.
Right. So in other words,
he with Kanye West said it's Trump's fault. It's like, what? Wait, how does that work?
So this Milo I call him Milo Yiannopoulos, but I guess I can't say his last name.
Is that guy still a thing?
He is now. He is now. So he hooks up with Kanye and this guy, Nick Fuentes, who's a raging anti-Semite racist. Mm-hmm. They decide to go, they tag on, and they set up a dinner with Trump. Trump don't know nothing. He's down there. And I blame Trump's people.
Were those the guys that were with Kanye?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That I didn't know.
So they go to dinner. So he ends up at dinner, and Trump doesn't know this guy. So he knows Kanye, so he wants everybody to see that he's sitting there having dinner with Kanye. Meanwhile, they're snapping pictures of this Nick Fuentes, and now I think this could have ended his re-election campaign. This is bad for Trump. But he won't, everybody wants him to apologize. And Trump's like, I ain't apologizing. I don't know the guy. He sits down to have dinner with me. I'm here to have dinner with Kanye. I don't even know who this guy is. And now all of a sudden I'm an anti-Semite. My daughter's a Jew, for Christ's sake.
Kind of ironic when you say, for Christ's sake, and invoking the conversion to Judaism.
That was the joke. Yeah. So anyhow.
Well, Jesus was a Jew.
He was. You know,
Jesus was a Jew. A lot of
people
forget that.
Yeah. So then they get out of there. There's a guy named Tim Pool. Tim Pool has a YouTube show, very, very successful, has a very successful podcast. So they want to go on Tim's show. So they go on Tim's show. 9 minutes in, Kanye goes into this rant about it's the Jews. Nick Fuentes says, well, isn't it? And Tim pushes back. Kanye gets up, and all three of them walk out of the studio. Now, this is a 2-hour show. Mm-hmm. So they just leave. So Tim does the rest of the show. They talk about everything. Now Tim's become the news. Alex Jones has, I guess it's 2 days later, or maybe the next day, Alex Jones has Kanye on his show. And Kanye says, you know, that Hitler, he's not all bad. He wasn't all bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, and so then he says, I'm a Nazi.
Well, I like dogs.
Yeah. He also is wearing that, what's the name of that fashion brand that got in trouble for the pedophilia?
Balenciaga.
Yeah, he's wearing a Balenciaga, like a black hood. You can't even see his eyes or his face. It's just like he's got like a black style. It looks like he's in there to rob the place, to be quite honest with you. Mm-hmm. So he's in there, and he's saying all this shit. Duchess puts it in here. Let me try this. Balenciaga. There you go.
Great.
Good enough. Good enough for the
Balenciaga.
South, fat, lazy South Jersey tongue. Balenciaga. She's right there. Balenciaga.
If you translate Michael Knowles, yeah, like this is how interesting things get started, or you observe. If you punch that into Google Translate from English into Latin, he did a whole thing on it. One version says, do as you will, which is what Satanists basically believe. There's no 10 commandments. It's like, who cares? Do what you want.
Right.
You know. And then another way, if you do it, Baal is like the chief demon, but it's spelled B-A-A-L. Like, yes. So there's ways that if you punch in, if you break up Balenciaga or whatever it is into that, and listen to the Michael Knowles podcast if you want the full breakdown. It says, it basically says Baal is the one. So,
all right. So basically what they're saying, and again, let's push Kanye to the side for a second. Let's get into this Balenciaga situation. Mm-hmm. So now this campaign comes out and everybody loses their mind because there's so much, I guess, visual stuff that is really disturbing with this ad. It has the thing for a child?
It's got a teddy bear in S&M gear.
Yes.
And then, ironically, as they like to say, they had the Supreme Court decision from 2008 that said, yeah, you can't go molesting kids. And then the company felt so upset about this that they purged their entire Instagram feed, except for the apology that they're probably not really sorry about.
Well, when this all went down, people immediately went over to Instagram and started screenshotting all the shit that they were doing over there.
Over a period of years.
Yeah, and this was a
with
theme
this
for them.
Photographer also that did this photo shoot.
Well, the photographer's like, hey, listen, I came in here to shoot this. This stuff was all here. We didn't set this up.
Well, the photographer has years and years of material like that.
Okay. So maybe he's part of it too.
So that's, I think it's I'm not even sure.
So if you say anything about this, that you're a conspiracy theorist. That if you say anything, oh, well, this is child pornography, or this is basically Satanism and child sacrifice and pedophilia or grooming, immediately you're worse than the people that did it, which I don't get.
Well, you're a crazy conspiracist, and
Right, exactly.
But it's like well, if you're trying to say that there isn't a bunch of influential elitist people that engage in like unseemly sex things, well, I have seen evidence of that called Pedophile Island that Jeffrey Epstein ran, that a lot of people whose names have not been released to the public for some strange reason. So if you're going to like say that I'm a conspiracy theorist, but I see that this is what's going on, then how is it not a conspiracy?
Exactly.
Silence. Cue the crickets.
You go into Epstein's apartment in New York, and he has a big giant oil painting.
Oh, Bill Clinton in the blue dress?
In a blue dress. Now, what's that about?
Yeah.
So if you don't,
Well, did you hear how that raid went down?
No.
In the Manhattan penthouse, they got the permission for a raid, and they went in there, and it was a safe or a big locked closet or something, and in that safe there was like lots of evidence, like video, tapes, recordings, photographs, whatnot. And they left that unsecured. They just left, and they came back 2 days later because they didn't have a warrant, but they didn't guard the apartment. Well, we don't have a warrant. We can't do nothing here. And they just left. And they came back 2 days later, and all that stuff disappeared.
Oh, imagine that.
So, but if you notice this, like, wait a minute, and you report it, this is what happened. I observed this has actually happened. You're a conspiracist.
Right. So now all this is going on. All right. So now let's circle back to Kanye. So Kanye's on Alex Jones, and he is going full out racist, anti-Semite, just the worst things that you can even say. And you're like, make it stop. Stop the recording. Jesus Christ. This guy's imploding right in front of us. This thing might have taken down 2 presidential campaigns at once. His and Trump's.
I don't know. Trump, who even knows? I mean, he's got a lot of other things to worry about, like other potential primary people.
I think he's going to punch himself out before the primaries even start. And then I think he'll drop out.
No, I don't think he's, like I mentioned the last time we were talking, the thing that scares me is he'll run as an independent, and then we'll have another Ross Perot situation like 1992.
Yeah.
But hey, what are you going to do? Just laughing my way through the apocalypse.
I heard it today. It says the problem is that there's a lot of Republicans that act like Democrats, but there's no Democrats that act like Republicans. And that's the problem.
Yeah, I've been saying that for decades, and you laughed at me.
All right.
Yes.
So what? No sense in rubbing my nose in it.
Yeah, well, I'm here to gloat.
Of course you are.
Because people hate. Now, see?
Mm-hmm.
Me and Joe use Now See all the time.
Now see?
Now, you would ask about a break room story, and actually, ironically, you led off with like people guard what they say or whatever because they're so... But then you have instances with the opposite, and this is funny as hell. So we're all sitting in the break room, and one of my workers, they got 2 turkeys. They had 17 people. So, and he made the turkey, and he was proud of himself. He's showing us pictures, he's like, and he's describing what he did. Oh, and then I was taking it out, and I was brining it. I don't see what the big deal is. Women are always screaming about how hard this is. And he carved the turkey, and he was pretty proud of himself. And then we carved the turkey, and he's talking about Thanksgiving's past. There was a room full of people, and he says, yeah, we had it all displayed real nice, we had the dark meat on one plate and we had the white meat on another plate because that's just the way we always did it. And like the room got like silent. He said, yeah, he always kept the dark and the white separate. I don't know why. And the room just got like silent. So this low hanging fruit is just hanging there for like, I said, well, fuck it, I'm going to go for it. So the room's eerily silent for like 3 seconds. I said, well, are they from down south? Then he realized, but you know what? It was just like, so he was just like talking like we always used to talk, you know, and he's our age. He's the same age as you and I are. So, you know, it's just ordinary. No one would even think about things like that. But now in this troubled times that we live in, everyone went like, "Ooh." I said, "Oh, it sounds like I got a good podcast story." I can just hear it now. My family's racist, and
we never mixed the whites and the darks.
It was fun. He wasn't Jewish. What's that accent? What's that?
Never mix the meat with the milk. The milk and the meat or the cheese. I guess you can't have cheeseburgers.
We just carved that bitch right there on the big carving thing, and it all goes out there. Like, hey, what do you want? You got one fork, one big turkey? Take what you want.
Yeah.
You know,
mix it all up. Make yourself a mulatto sandwich.
He says, I guess your Thanksgiving table's more woke. He yelled at all of us. You know? In a one-way race, says, I haven't got time to like separate meat. I'm just cutting that off, and the meat falls off where it falls off on the dish. You sift through it. You're lucky I even have you over here.
Oh.
So even a crisis on Thanksgiving.
All right. I think we've done it all. I think we've said it all. We probably got about an hour and a half.
I think we got more than that.
Probably. You should have heard the show I was doing when you weren't here. I was talking to the people that are in the chat. In Discord, in our Discord.
Hi, chat.
Hi, chat. All right. Why don't we do some podcast shout-outs?
If you're looking for some other great independent podcasts to check out, we highly recommend these podcasts. The Jason and Mindy podcast, starring Jason and Mindy. Hoping they're feeling better. A little no podcast from them because I think they got the Rona.
They got the Rona. I couldn't believe they got the Rona.
Yeah. I'm going back to calling it Corona.
Oh, yeah, the coronavirus?
Well, it's still COVID, but
yeah.
I think that's just my conspiracy theory. Once they spotted that the word Corona was on the Lysol cans, they really couldn't make it sound as serious as it was. Shit, change it to COVID-19. Now it sounds death-threatening. So,
where was it?
COVID-19. COVID-19.
Yeah.
COVID-19. COVID-19. I blow the wind of God.
I hope Jason and Mindy are doing well. It's not fun going through that. You know. I'll tell you nothing. You sent you to the hospital. You got the real COVID. I got COVID light.
That's the last time I called out sick.
Yeah.
That was a year and a half ago. I don't fuck around, and I don't need 7 paid days.
That's right.
Union railroad worker pussies.
The Who's Right podcast with Doug and Anthony.
The Unwritable Rant with Juliet Miranda. As you want to see your bourbon surveys, and she recommended one, and I forget what it was. I meant to mention it last podcast, and I went out and saw it, and I got it, and it is very tasty.
Tasty bourbon.
Good for you, lip smacking good bourbon.
Yeah, I have to go out and get some different. I got to get more booze in here. All I have is my Applejack.
Your apple cider. Your unmanly Applejack. Yes. Jack Daniels.
Right. She's
have it for breakfast. Tastes like Apple Jacks. Great.
I shake my head with Lisa and Sam. They asked me to be their correspondent. I went to Dunkin' Donuts, and they wanted me because they don't have these in Canada. I got the pancake, sausage, egg, and cheese wrap, and it was meh.
Yeah, I saw your review.
Yeah, it was.
What do they have up in Canada? It's like, was it Tom Hortons?
Tim Hortons.
It's like their version of Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah, well, there's one on the White Horse Pike in Stratford. They have a Tim Hortons, and it is so, I'm going to tell you something right now. If Tim Hortons decided to come into this market, they would destroy Dunkin' Donuts. Their coffee's better, their muffins are better, their breakfast sandwiches are better.
Didn't Burger King buy them?
I don't know, but man, if they start coming in here right now, fuck Dunkin' Donuts. Tim Hortons.
I vaguely remember a story that Burger King was looking to buy them or did buy them. So it was a couple of years. It was before Corona. I remember that going on. Am I canceled with Edward?
Edward is one of the rubberneckers. He just put out an episode today that I'm dying to go listen to. The last Rubberneckers that we did, we just recorded last night, but the one before that, 2 weeks ago, before Thanksgiving, he came in as a character by the name of Eugene. And Eugene made me almost have a meltdown like I had on episode 7 of Rubberneckers. It was pretty funny. I put it out, but this week we did a quiz.
Do you say fat, donut on it?
No, I did not. No, it's donut, fat. The next episode is Married as Fuck with Randall and Brooke. I think they just put out an episode. They're very sporadic, but it's still a good listen. I enjoy that.
Yeah, you were just saying you thought they were done, and they go and surprise you, and they put out a new podcast.
Correct.
Made a liar out of you.
I know, they did.
That Uncle Randy. Okay, now I'm curious of this because you clearly didn't edit this. Boomer Bunker with Bob and John.
All right, the Boomer Bunker. So it doesn't look like Bob is going to do the Boomer Bunker anymore.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
I know.
I like Bob.
I
don't like
Bob
the
too.
other guy on that show, but
Yeah, I know.
Bob I like.
Okay. So here's the deal.
Here's the thing.
I did this on Rubberneckers. I guess I'll do it again. Bob and Tammy, his wife, are at odds about Bob live streaming. So then Bob wanted to do what you and I do, which is this: just not do it live stream. Don't live stream it. Just do it and not really worry about the chat. Although today we're doing it in Discord, so I guess we are kind of live streaming it. But you don't know anything. You can't see anything, so you're not part of it.
That's the way. I like it.
Yeah. I get it.
Let's do it.
So it sounds hypocritical that I wouldn't do that for the Boomer Bunker. And it could be that way. You could see it that way. But I look at it this way. I can't have Tammy being our producer. All right, because I don't know what the next hair up her backside would be. And I don't care, to be quite honest with you. And I understand Bob's position. He's in love with his wife, and they have a very good marriage, all except for this and all. And he can go do, he can just go do another podcast or whatever, and that's fine. But I just can't. In my heart of hearts, it really, I guess it sticks in my craw.
Well, riddle me this, Batman.
Mm-hmm.
What would be wrong doing it with Bob the way you and I do this?
Nothing, except the fact that we were told by Bob's wife.
So what if Bob said he wanted to do that, but didn't mention Tammy?
I probably would have done it.
Yeah. So see, once again, you can't compromise.
Correct. In this time, yes. Yeah. All right. So here's the deal. And this is all in the
You're
works.
pretty high maintenance.
I am. So what?
You really are.
I am worth it. Aren't I though? I'm worth it. I
Well,
put out
4 years from now, when you guys reboot the Boomer Bunker, because hey, Bob, I had to walk away for 4 years, so what the hell?
yeah, I still can't get you to do. So, okay. So here's what I'm saying to you. There's a chair open on the Boomer Bunker show. We would do it one night a week.
Who's this we? Not me.
No?
I'm not doing that.
You're not going to do a pop? You're not going to do
Nah, because Bob, you guys complimented yourself. Bob really put his heart into the research end of stuff. He really had
What?
Really had his shit together. Well, you were just kind of along for the ride.
Excuse me?
Nah, when he would bring topics up, he was informative and concise. The look on your face is so
How dare
great.
you? How fucking dare you?
Nah, I'm a one podcast guy, and that's it.
I understand that, but
once
I mean,
a month. Once a month. If I'm doing this once a month, why would I want to do that every week?
because it would be fantastic. You have an insight on the news.
Oh, yeah.
No?
Nah, I don't think so.
All right.
I think I'm decently informed. I'm more informed than the layman out there.
I had an idea for a podcast, and I swear to God, if I could get the players to do this, this could be game changing. It would be called Left, Right, and Center. You get a liberal or a leftist, a conservative, and a moderate, and they go in and they talk about news stories.
Well, moderates are leftists in waiting.
So you say, okay.
That's what they say. Independents are Democrats in waiting.
Yeah. Well, I'll be honest with you. I think now there are more Republicans in waiting.
Like me.
Right.
Well, if you come from a blue state like this, I'm an independent. No, you're not.
Well, the thing is, and I still say it's the same, although I don't believe I've moved. I just think the line where center and left and right has moved. I do believe, so in other words, I'm not a staunch Republican because I don't give a shit about gay marriage, and I don't give a shit about abortion, and I don't give a shit about, I don't know, whatever the other things that you guys get all your panties in a wad over.
Smaller government.
Oh, no. I like smaller government. That I love. Smaller government I love.
The right to your Bill of Rights.
Yeah, that I'm
access.
all for. Yes.
It's not the Bill of Suggestions.
Yeah.
There are rights that predate government. That's why it's called the Bill of Rights, and they're supposed to be they're separate from every other amendment that came after.
Right, but if the fact that you want to get a baby vacuumed out of your hoo-ha, or the fact that you want to marry another man.
Well, that's been around since, now you're going to start a whole other podcast, but that's been around since the time of Christ. So the term that they use in the Bible is the quickening.
Okay. Yeah, see? So. Don't care. Let them go do their thing.
And that's why they can just buffalo people like you.
Oh, well.
Like me.
Well, again, to that point.
Boy, this is really something that we just broke right out into this podcast shout-outs.
As we do. This will be 2 hours.
So Boomer Bunker is done. That's where we left off on this.
Okay, so there we go. All right, so anyhow. So now the Jimmy might come back as the second chair of the Boomer Bunker. What do you think about that?
So if you were to put a chess clock on that.
Go ahead.
If it was like an hour, to be like 57 minutes of you talking and 3 minutes of Jimmy.
Is that how you think it's going to go?
Well, Jimmy doesn't say too much. Not on podcasts, he doesn't.
All right, so I don't know what I'm going to do.
And I love Jimmy. Jimmy's,
yeah.
I'm just saying his past record. Yeah, at least I never listened to
Unbelievably Stupid.
the one that you did after I left. Right. I never listened.
That
to
was
that
basically
one.
left, right, and a center. Well, that was left and two rights. That was a combination punch.
It's like Rocky Balboa.
A left and two rights.
Nah, but when Jimmy was when we were all down in the studio, it was Jimmy. Jimmy didn't say too much.
No, until we turned the fucking recorder off. Then all of a sudden, the motherfucker couldn't shut up. Then he was brilliant. He was entertaining.
You got to put a GoPro camera up there and just not tell him.
I did that one time. I recorded him. We were sitting there talking, and I said I shut it off, but I never shut the recording off. And we talked, and it was the best part of the show. And you know what he did the next time? He went like this. He goes, and he says, "We're done." And he took his microphone, pushed it away like this. Right. I was like, "Motherfucker, put that microphone." I said, "Put that microphone back."
See,
he's like, "No, so you can't record me."
Yeah, you can only trick the Jimmy once.
Get the fuck out.
Jimmy ain't no fool. He knows how you roll.
Yeah.
Treachery. Always treachery.
All right. So I guess the Boomer Bunker's on hiatus until I can figure out what to do with it. I still want to do the show. I still like talking about what's going on in the world of politics. I still like giving my take on it. I still think it's needed. I do. I mean, I know there's a lot of other ones out there, but it was funny when Jimmy was going to do it. I was going to kind of go into a character where kind of more of like a 70s kind of guy where you just don't just let it all hang out.
Oh, true life?
True life.
What do you mean character? That's what we are.
So in other words, for yourself.
We're raised in who would have thought that the height of cinema would be Blazing Saddles? Because you can't make that movie anymore.
Nope.
It's like, that's it.
Yeah.
The movie came out in 1974. We reached the pinnacle at that point. Now you can never even do anything like that.
I don't like the fact that, in other words, well, I say that some of the funniest words have GG in the middle of them. That's all. That's all I'm going to say. And some people get to use them and some people don't. There you go. That's all I'm going to say. Great observations with Jessica and Melissa.
That's all you have? Okay.
That's all I have.
The Rubberneckers podcast with John, Jody, Josh, and Edward.
And we did
and Hugh.
That's me. And then we did the trivia this last
Hugh.
episode. And I'm not going to say anything, but they came in and basically tried to make it where they did trivia contest, and they were trying to make it where I would be last. And I think I shocked them. That's all I'm going to say, because the episode hasn't been out yet. I don't want to spoil anything.
Oh, I was to say, was they rigged the game?
Well, I think so. But then one guy,
Rigged
Jody,
the questions?
Jody did something that really saved my ass. All his questions were about donuts,
Okay.
and that propelled me to the top. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm going to say. So you have to listen and pay attention.
Do you know what classifies a donut as a donut?
No,
It's got to have a hole in the center.
does it? What about a Boston cream?
Nope, not a donut.
It's not.
Nope.
What's that called?
I guess a pastry or a Danish, like in Caddyshack.
I did not know.
Why? You know why donuts were invented?
I don't know.
Some sea captain or something had his fingers chopped off, so he had some baker bake donuts so he could stick his thumb through it and he could like eat his fucking donut and dunk it in his coffee. So yeah,
Okay.
look it up. Look it up.
Okay.
Look it up.
Master of useless knowledge.
That's
That's
it.
that's what makes you That's what makes you the best part of this show.
Oh well,
What? I'm
butter
serious.
my bread for me, huh? Oh, you know what? Speaking of the last podcast, we were entering that question in on being able to change your vote in Pennsylvania.
Yes.
We were entering the phraseology wrong because I went back and listened to the podcast that I heard it from, and the correct question was, can I change my vote in
Not how.
Pennsylvania? And we were putting, how do I change? That's why I wasn't showing up.
Okay.
Because I was like, how did I fuck that up? Then I went back and listened to it. And then I texted you back, and you said, we'll address it this podcast. There, we addressed it.
There we go. The very
I
end.
fuck up a lot in this podcast. In the heat of the argument, like or heat of the discussion, I'll say something like, I meant to say no fault marriage, and I said no fault insurance. I'm like, you fucking idiot. I'm screaming at myself as I listen to the podcast back. Oh, what a fucking idiot. You know,
I get mad at Lisa and Sam because they never know how to end the show. We're there. We're there. We start talking, and all of a sudden we're ready to. It's the end of the show, and we're still talking. Yeah. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. All our social media and how to get in touch with us and how to get in our Discord that Deuce isn't in will all be in the show notes. So thank you very much for listening, and we will talk to you next month.
Merry Christmas. Adios, bitches.
Will you shut the fuck up so I can end the recording?
That's it. We're just getting into it.